Welcome to the Menopause Conversations Podcast. My name's Angela Council and I'm your host for this podcast, and this is where you learn all about menopause, what is happening to your body, to your hormones, and life in general. Everything is changing and sometimes it can seem really confusing, but this is where the confusion stops right now. This podcast will share with you everything you need to know about how you can navigate your menopause transition with ease. So sit back and enjoy the show. Bye for now. Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of the Menopause Conversations Podcast. My name is Angela Council and I'm your host for this podcast. Now, this week I have got a special guest. And now this is actually the second time I've had this guest on the podcast. She was on the podcast a few years ago. So it's Vanamala Mayr-Reisch, and she is a world-leading face yoga expert. And the reason why I've invited Vanamala back again is because she recently won a bronze medal at the Women Changing the World Award. And I wanted to know a little bit more about what these awards are about, why they're important, and also the work that Vanamala is doing, particularly around body positivity and the impact on the way we feel about our face, which is what we're talking about, and our mental and physical well-being, because it's really important as we see an uptake in women doing cosmetic procedures as they kind of get into their mid-40s and beyond, because there's I don't know, it's a bit of a negative message about women's faces showing aging, and this is one of the things that we talk about in this podcast. So please have a listen and let us know, what do you think? Do you think that there is something in this, what Vanamala has to share, that, you know, looking at the way we present ourselves to the world in a different way is something that we all need to be considering? And just letting you know that during this podcast, because if you're listening to this on a podcasting app, not watching it on YouTube, some of the things that we do, Vanamala describes a couple of exercises. I tried to make sure that we made them as descriptive as possible so that you could do them. The other option is, of course, is going and watching it over on YouTube, or you'll find the video within the Menopause Conversations Facebook group. So we always post the video in that Facebook group. So have a listen, and I'll be back at the end of the podcast. Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of Menopause Conversations Podcast. And I've got a special guest with me this time. She's actually been on the podcast before, a couple of years ago, and I'll share the link in the show notes for our previous conversation. But welcome to Vanamala, and she's from Face Yoga Australia. So hello, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So last time you were on the call, we spoke a bit about face yoga, but I want to take a little bit of a different direction today, because you were originally in a finalist for the Women Changing the World Award 2024, and you actually got a bronze award. So can you just share with us, what is Women Changing the World Award? What is it all about? Why was it set up, and who are the key people that many of our listeners probably know that are involved in it?
Yes. Yes, it's actually an incredible award, celebrating or actually giving women a voice which might be not as known and are doing amazing work for other women. And so it is a world award. That means when I went to that ceremony, I really met people from around the world. You name the country, it was there, and it was just absolutely fascinating. Now, the beautiful thing is, it was actually the whole award came into place through Dr. Tiara Trent. She is quite known for helping or being an advocate for education for women in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
She herself had a long path, originally not able to learn anything, and then working all her way up to a doctorate. And she got an incredible support from Oprah Winfrey when she was interviewed, and they heard about her entire project. And so what happened on the spot, Oprah actually gave her $1.5 million to build a school. So she obviously got a really fantastic support. And from that, so many other women were supported. Now, she was one of the people who brought this award into place. The Duchess of York is part of that. And of course, also two business women from Australia who actually are sisters, and they brought this whole award into place. And it was just incredible because it was reaching everyone, and there's so many different categories. So for me, it was, of course, wellness for women, and like specifically, I'm an advocate for positive body image. But like, of course, there were women with inventions or supporting women who experience violence, or children, or education, or equality for, like getting the same amount of money for your work. And in some, I was totally in awe whom I met there. It was so inspiring because there were lots of women who came from countries where it is so much harder to do anything as a woman. I mean, where you can't even drive a car, or you're not allowed to do anything really by yourself. And they managed to make a mark with their work. And it was just incredibly inspiring. And I was so grateful that I was able to actually attend also this particular award ceremony and the summit for it, the Women Changing the World Award Summit in London. And it just totally changed something for me.
Yeah, and I mean, I've known Katie and Peace, who are the Australian women. I've known them for many, many
Yes.
years. I've worked with them for many years, and I know what they're trying to, where they started here in Australia with the way they want to change the way women business owners are accepted in the world. And then when they were doing this, I thought that was absolutely amazing because there's so many women who've got so many gifts, but we don't hear about it a lot. I mean, there's a few very high profile women in business that we know about, but there's so many other women that are making a difference. And, that's part of the reason why I do some of my work is because I work with women who are kind of in this middle stage of life, middle to, final stage of life, what we call it, the third age. And there's so much wisdom there. And that's why I support these women, because I think for many, many years, women haven't realized their potential. Some have, but many don't, because we've got so many other conflicting things that have been going on, raising children, supporting partners, having jobs, having businesses, whatever, is a lot that women have to do. And we've got a lot to give beyond that, standard, be a mum, raise your children type of thing, which is great. I did that. I mean, that's exactly what I did, is like I was lucky I was running my own business, but I was a stay-at-home mum. So nothing against that, but women have got so much potential. And that's why I love what is being done with these awards.
Yes, and it's actually interesting what you said about, women have so many other things they have to do in their life, and juggling many balls at the same time. And it's something I think quite unique for women. Like it's not as often for the male counterpart. So it's really something, we listen to many amazing speeches from all kind of women. And one of them was really pointing that out. She said, look, as long as we are juggling so many balls, something is not right, because it is not equal. It's not the same help we get when we are having such a business or a venture or whatever it is. But like, we usually have to do so many extra things at the same time. And I think a lot of women feel that.
Yeah, and that's where I think a lot of women put aside their dreams for, well, I'm going to get through this stage of life, and then, when the kids have grown up, when, And then by the time they get to that when stage, then they've lost themselves. I find that a lot of women, a lot of the women I've worked with, they kind of start to lose themselves because, and this is part of what I want to talk to you about is there's unrealistic ideals about what women should be doing. And I don't like the word should. So what they think they should be doing, how they think they should look, how their body should be acting. And, as women come through this menopause stage of life, things change. And this is, and then women start to fight that. And I know this is basically what you went over to the awards with, is to kind of start to change this way that women perceive their bodies. And I was actually on another podcast earlier this week, and this is part of what we were talking about, is that sometimes I feel like women are fighting their bodies, and it's like they're in a war with their bodies and they've got to beat it. So tell us more about the work you're doing. I mean, you do face your yoga, but it's bigger than that, isn't it? So what have you found with women, particularly with these unrealistic beauty norms and the way we're meant to look and why we don't look like our 20-year-old body anymore, all that stuff that goes on, as we get to our 40s and beyond?
You mentioned so many juicy bits in there. So I think one of the big things is, of course, the unrealistic beauty norms. That means we are bombarded day in, day out with some ideal how we are supposed to look. And honestly, and I say that every time in every course or class I give, you're battling with an image which has cost, if it's on the front page of a magazine, $40,000 and was completely manipulated. If you meet this person on the street, you will not recognize.
Yeah. And just actually, before you go on, sorry, I just wanted to, because then there's the other side of that, because the other thing we also see sometimes in some of these like life insurance ads and things like that, they have images of women who are supposedly 55, and you look at them and you go, well, hang on a minute, they don't look like my 55, they look like 85. So then it's the other side, isn't it? So then women are afraid, oh, do I look like that because I'm 55? So it's kind of that both sides of that. We've got one telling us we've got to look really, really great. Another one says, oh, you're 55, you're old and haggard.
Yes. And, like I notice I have a little software where you can create posts and stuff. It's very hard to find pictures for middle-aged women.
Yep.
The whole range till, let's say, mid-30, maybe early 40s, and then much older, right?
Yeah, but I know.
Everything
I have the same thing.
is not there available, which I could use. Yeah. So I really have to search for that, or, of course, get realistic pictures. But the thing is, and I totally agree with what you just said, like it's this funny thing of how does a 52 or 55-year-old woman look, how it should look? It's all not about that. See, I give always the example, specifically with face yoga. Everybody thinks, oh, I must actually look at every single face. And they also have this idea that everyone else is just looking at this one little blemish here, totally focused on that, and all the rest is not there. So the thing is, actually, if I talk to someone, I see the whole person. It's not like I'm not talking to the blemish, and I'm also not judging what's happening in the face, even though that is my background. But I'm picking up on the energy, the way how you feel about you. And the most time what happens when we age is like we feel insecure. We lose our confidence. That's why we think we have to mimic being younger and then, get Botox, get fillers, get surgery. Believe it or not, in Australia alone, $19.5 billion are spent per year for beauty. Now, that is actually, wow, it's incredible, isn't it? And it's not like beauty that we feel good about ourselves. It's just like we are spending something that others love us and that others think we are beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's all about finding the place where you come back and actually love yourself. That's your empowerment. That's actually where the face yoga is such a nice thing, because it's basically You're learning a tool. And then with that tool, you can look younger. Of course, you can look younger. I'm now, in a month's time, 62. And I only started face yoga when I was 55. And that was the time when I noticed, wow, I'm aging fast. And there was a moment where I thought, oh, maybe I should go to the beautician and get da 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 da. And then I thought, no, that's not me. That's absolutely not me. So when I started to do face yoga, what happened after, I think, the second or third time, I noticed that something inside me changed. Like I felt suddenly so much happier. I felt so much more confident. And that is what I see literally in every class, every workshop I do. It's so beautiful to see. You start out with women who want to lift the droopy eyelids and get rid of the double chin and the whole thing. And at the end, I just recently had a class and it was just a day class. So we had quite a long day class, like it was a 5-hour class. But like at the beginning, we had that. And at the end, I had at least a third of the people, besides that they literally changed their face, they said, wow, I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Right. And that was for me the biggest thing. It was such a beautiful thing to hear that. I feel happy. The unrealistic beauty norms push us into doing the Botox, the fillers, the surgery, and still not loving yourself. And I would even go that far because you said a lot of people, a lot of women have this idea they're not good enough. Or I think if you talk to every single woman, I would say at least 90% have something they don't like about their body.
Yeah, and isn't that's the funny thing is like we sit there and we think that what as you say the spot is the biggest thing or whatever, but the person you're talking to is thinking the exact same thing about themselves. So we're all kind of focused on what's wrong with me, and we're not really, rarely. Oh, I don't think so. That you're not actually out there going, oh, well, what's wrong with her? She's got a spot there. Oh, maybe she's got, it's like, you know. I think, yeah, that's where sometimes it's like we think everyone's looking at us, but in fact, we're all just looking at ourselves, and very rarely are we looking outside. And that's an issue in itself, is that we're not always seeing the depth. I mean, you say you see that energy of someone, and other people aren't seeing that energy. And I see that too when women do my program. Is like the majority of them come into the program because they want to lose the excess menopause weight. But by the halfway through the program, whether they've lost weight or not, what I see is a light that kind of comes on. And you see it in their eyes because, I'm on calls with them, and I can see the difference in their eyes. It's just like there is a lightness in their face because they've changed their foods. They've been doing all the things that are right for them. And now their body is responding in a way that says, hey, thank you for looking after me. And that's where I always see it first. Before I see anything else, I see that in the face. It's just like, wow, they just lit up.
And it's quite interesting. Like, let's say, just imagine you're in a room and there are lots of people and someone walks in. Now, if someone walks in very insecure and actually doesn't want it to be seen, they will not be seen because that's the energy they carry with them. But if someone walks in and said, let's have a look, what's going on here? Everybody turns around, and it's not because they have this amazing dress. It might be on top of that. Like, it's something about that person.
Yeah.
Like, men were asked, what is the most sexy thing for you? And it was that a woman is confident.
Yeah.
That was number one. It was not about, the outer shape or the face or whatever, or no wrinkles. It was about the confidence. And that is for me something so beautiful, right? Like, because that's something we can really experience and learn and just come back to loving yourself. In the moment you love yourself, you feel confident. You just say, that's me, right?
So with that, so I know that you kind of made a pledge that you were going to help as many women as possible get off antidepressants.
Yes.
So how then, with knowing that's what your pledge and that's what your main driving mission is, how do we take someone who is lacking in confidence? She looks in the mirror and all she sees is whatever she sees. She doesn't see the beauty within herself. She's comparing herself to others, and she's considering, and I actually saw a post in a Facebook group the other day. Oh, what type of makeup do I wear to make me look 20 again? And it was in a plus 50s. There's like, what do you want to look 20 again? So what do these women do? How do you help them work through to get that confidence? Because many women don't have it. It's one of the things I find a lot with women as they come through these changes in life, and their body changes, their hormones are changing, their life changing, their kids are moving, all that. A lot of women do lose their confidence. So what are the steps that do you think that women can take that are going to start to get their confidence back in themselves and see that inner beauty?
So I think number one is to put yourself on top of the to-do list, because one thing is we are spreading ourselves so thin and constantly make sure everybody else is taken care of, but we are not leaving any time for ourselves. One of the most remarkable changes in the face I see when people start to relax. Yeah, we are carrying so much tension in the face. Besides that, we are very maybe self-conscious about the face, because it's the first thing we look at when we meet someone, right? So it's kind of, oh my God, they see me here. So I'm not looking at the feet and say, oh, hello, how are you? It's like I'm looking at the face. So there's this self-consciousness, but also if we have a lot of stress in the day-to-day life, and I think the majority of us have that, like unless it's very, I hardly ever come across anyone
living life these days, particularly once you get to 45 plus, there's been some stress somewhere in your life.
Yes. So the thing is, and the stress is actually anchoring in the facial muscles, for example. Yeah, like a typical one, there's a German phrase where you say, if there is something very hard you have to tackle, bite your teeth and go through it.
Yeah.
So it's like clench your teeth and go through it. So that's literally what we do. If there is stress, if there is some disharmony and disbalance in the way we treat ourselves and the rest around us, then that shows in the muscles. And of course, if I clench here or get a lot of tension here, then I start to get lots of wrinkles, right? Or I'm really worried. And now if and I've done that now a million times, I have my frown line there. And now I'm telling you, wow, I had such a fantastic day. I'm so happy. I'm even giving out a complete different
it's a disconnect.
Yeah, it's a disconnect. It's like my body says something different than what I see. Now, one thing I invite everyone is to go to the smile revolution. So what that means, there are two things. One is usually when you walk through a town or a shopping mall or whatever, you see lots of people rest their lips like that. Yeah, like they're turning down like this, or very serious, or pulling down. Now, what I did is an experiment in one of the big shopping malls here around the corner. I thought, okay, so let's give a little smile on my face and let's walk through the shopping mall. There happened two things. One was every person walking towards me looked at me, and all I did, I had a light smile on my face. So automatically people are suddenly attracted to you. So many women experience in the Middle Ages where you feel like no one looks at me anymore, right? And it's something which we also kind of signal a little bit to the outside, not necessarily consciously, but maybe unconsciously, because we don't feel happy about ourselves. So the moment you start to smile, people react, and they not only looked at me, they also gave me positive energy back. And after 20 minutes, I felt fantastic.
Yeah.
I never had done that. Yeah, like I'm a tunnel vision shopper. I want to buy jeans and then I only see the jeans. So for me, it was like a new experience to have.
You feel open, don't you? Because I do that quite often too, because where I live now, I've only been here for 12 months. So I don't really know too many people. And on Saturdays, I do my shopping and I go down to the big Westfields shopping mall. So I don't know anybody. It's really like, it's not it's not kind of where I was before. I'd been there for 25 years. It was just like home type of thing. But when I go in with a smile,
Yeah,
and it just kind of lightens you up and it energizes you to start with. You just having this smile on your face. And if someone smiles back, that's fantastic. If they don't, well, then that's okay. That's not on me, but I've given them a smile. And it just feels so much better than to just walk around. You see people just walking around with their head in their phones or looking at their feet. It's like, no, I don't know. I feel like I always stand up straighter and more upright when I'm walking around with a smile. And I do try to do that because that's kind of my connection time, because I spend a lot of time at home here working on the Saturdays when I go shopping. It's like, okay, I don't know these people, but I'm just going to smile anyway.
that's right. Yes. And it actually chemically changes something in the body. When you smile, you actually get the happy hormones released in the body. So even if you don't feel like smiling, it's a really good thing to do. And at the same time, you get the benefit of when you activate your smile muscle, you start lifting your face. If I have such a face, I, of course, have it hanging, right? But if I smile, the whole area here gets suddenly lifted. So you have both, yeah? You're training actually the muscles which might have been neglected for a long time. Like before I started face yoga, I smiled only with one side. I smiled with this side, and that one was just...
So you had a crooked smile.
And I didn't know. And I went back and had a look at photos, and I was surprised that I did that for so long. So it took me a little while to wake up that side, to come up to the same level. But the thing is, now I know automatically I have put so much awareness into it to just say, look, I put a smile on as my resting pose, and I invite everyone to do that. And when they do, they come back and tell me really positive experiences, because you are suddenly radiating out something completely different. People will connect you again, or you just simply feel good about yourself, because it's even releasing some special hormones in your body.
So before you spoke, because this is a little bit of an issue I have, this tightness in the jaw when we kind of clench. I actually recently, and I've been trying to do a lot more relaxation of my jaw, because I'm noticing that I'm waking up clenching my teeth. And so it's like, okay, I just lie there and I just relax and I just focus on relaxing my jaw. But there's probably many times that I'm actually clenching my teeth and not realizing it. So what's a simple way to just kind of, I just kind of just drop the jaw and just let it hang there, and it's like, okay, just relax. But is there a simple way of just having that, being aware that we can relax that jaw? Because I think a lot of women do that, is they do clench because we've got to, grit our teeth and get through it. And when you're clenching at nighttime, that's not a good thing either.
I think it's a massive issue, like so much so that I created even a whole workshop about it. Yeah, just like jaw. And it is not the facelift, it's really about the jaw and resetting the neck and jaw muscle. Now, unfortunately, it's not as easy to do it. But the thing is, I think the first step, what I would suggest is catch yourself doing it and stop it.
Yeah.
Right? So I will show you one little exercise. And yes, that's very easy to learn because it's ultra simple, but it will help you to get a bit more space here. It's complex in the sense that the jaw is connected with all the head muscles. So if I clench here, I get headaches, I get neck pain. My vision will be less because in the neck, in the top area of the neck, we have a small group of muscles. If they are really tight, they're pressing on 3 nerves, which are all for vision. So it's very interconnected, right? So what I created in that workshop is basically several different modalities where I think they work really well together to come to the solution of resetting the jaw and bringing it back into balance. But let me show you one little, look at that. I didn't know that I would use it today. You can see that is a chopstick.
Chopsticks. So for those who are just listening, we've just got a set of chopsticks right now.
Yes. So the chopsticks, which you normally get in a little Asian restaurant, and you want to make sure the chopstick at the end are still together.
That's okay, so you don't break them apart, you keep them together. Yep.
That's right. So one end is a little bit higher than the other one. Now, all you do, you use this chopstick and you will place it in your mouth so that on one side, I'm just thinking about the people who are just listening. It's really hard to describe, but like it's basically you're putting it in the mouth, and you hold it very, very gently with the molars, but only so that it doesn't fall out. You're not clenching. So let me just show you that for everyone who can see it. Okay. Yes. Huh? So it's all the way here to the back.
Yep. So it's all the way back up to the back of your jaw. Yep.
I hold it for 5 minutes.
For 5 minutes. Okay. For those of us like me who have a very sensitive choke thing, I choke on that.
See if it's really happening, because like give it a try.
Yep.
Like really on the side, so it's not in the middle at all.
Okay, so it's on the outside of the teeth, inside
Outside
the cheek.
along the teeth, between the teeth. That's where you're holding it. And what it does, it will actually release tension here from these muscles. Now, that is an exercise you can quite easily do. As I said, the most important one is do not bite on it. It should be only as gentle that it doesn't fall out of your mouth. And you might want to start with 1 minute and then work your way up to 5. But that is a very quick way to reset your muscles. However, so there are 2 other aspects to that. One is the way you sleep in the night. If you sleep really like this, then of course, like I'm just pushing up my hand and squeezing my face into the pillow.
Yeah, that's kind of how I sleep.
Yeah. So then there is a lot of tension on here too.
And then sometimes with my shoulder up there as well.
Even better. Yeah, like it's even stronger tension here.
It's probably why I wake up with my jaw feeling like it's all clenched.
Yeah, so it's really good if you can sleep on your back. I know it's a challenge for most people. So if you do try to sleep on the back, what you can do, put 2 little pillows under your lower legs so that your belly muscles are more relaxed.
Yep.
And that will help you at least to stay for some time on the back, which is fabulous for all your organs, really good for your shoulders and your spine. And it is absolutely fantastic for the face. You actually will fix 30% of the things you want to fix in your face.
Sleeping on my back. Wow. I love to sleep on my stomach, actually. And every therapist that I work with says no.
So on the stomach, it's even stronger because that is like a really strong.
It's putting everything out of alignment. Yep.
So it's great to consider that, because you really will fix a lot of things in your body just by that.
Okay, I'll go back to, I can sleep on my back. I just don't stay there for very long. And because if I sleep on my back for too much, I start snoring. So.
Okay, so just try it for maybe shorter times, and that will actually change things in here. The other thing is literally every time you notice you're tensing the teeth, especially during the day, like often that happens if we have a lot to do, too much to do. So it's kind of then just drop your jaw. That's fine. Leave your jaw open for right now. That's the fastest and easiest way to do it, and catching yourself again and again and again. So awareness, of course, is a very big part in that.
Yeah. So obviously you teach women about this, how to, and just for want of better words, look younger by using face yoga rather than looking at, having fillers, cosmetics and things like that. And it's not really looking younger, because we're not going to look 20 again, just being realistic, but to actually feel more comfortable with what's going on. And I think really, even with what you've just been talking now, it's really just about helping the body to relax itself, isn't it? I mean, okay, the some of the wrinkles might go, but it is really just about allowing the body to be comfortable, because we're just holding on to so much tension.
Yes, like as I said, the most you see very quickly changes. Let's say someone has tension here, so the whole face is slightly out of asymmetry, which is a very common occurrence, by the way, and it can be smaller or larger. However, so the moment they start to relax here, something starts to be more symmetrical. And that's what we experience as beautiful, because it's the symmetry, right?
Yes.
So the thing that's one very important part. And once you have relaxed the tension, then we can train the muscles. Face yoga is basically that you train the facial muscles. We have over 60 muscles, so you can be very precise with that. Plus, it's lots of fun. We do so many funny faces. I have a whole group of women who comes every Monday live online, and they come on a regular base, and we do every time something slightly different, but they come after a full day. And so they are tired, they're totally exhausted. And what we start out with is always conscious breathing, connecting with your body to actually arrive. And then we do some exercises, and they laugh, they crack up, and they just support each other. And that alone, to come to that and have this support and have this gentle guidance to go into this space of just feeling happy with yourself and in yourself, that makes such a big difference.
Yeah, because I think that's what a lot of women miss out on. I think, just having a really, I know I don't do it enough. It's like having a really good laugh, and just because don't you feel when you have this laugh, it's just like the whole body just lets go. You have a really good belly laugh. It's like, it's almost like you get a bit of a shaking as you release all this energy you've been holding on to. And then afterwards, it's like, whoa, it's like, it's all just gone.
Absolutely. And, because we also work on the neck and shoulders, so that's usually where we carry so much, right? So the face yoga is always working on the neck and shoulders to release tension from the face and build up the muscles. But it's all very playful, and it's really funny. As I said, we do so many funny faces. The other day, I had a client, a one-on-one, and I said, oh, I will show you now something which is really weird. And then I did that, and she said, well, that wasn't weirder than the rest. True, actually, I don't notice it anymore. I just do it, right?
So if anyone's interested in learning about face yoga, where do they go to? Because you work online, don't you? So you don't need to turn up anywhere. You can work with anyone, anywhere.
Yes. So I have actually now 90% of my business online. There are some local courses here still, because one-on-ones are beautiful as well, and also groups in person. But like, I have lots and lots of programs online, and you just go to faceyogaaustralia.com, and I have a Monday weekly class. I have workshops with the different themes. And the online workshops are also recorded. So if you can't come to that time, you can actually see the replay, and you have lifelong access to that. So for example, the next one is the forehead and eye area. Now that's a big one for tension in the head, droopy eyes, and all these different lines on the forehead,
and because many women do complain of having migraines in that as well. So if we can release some of that, there may be a hormonal component, but I think a lot of times stress is playing a really big role.
I have one client, she has, I think, normally 3 times a week migraine. So it's really full on. She is managing it now much, much better, and has much less medication or full episodes. So it makes a big difference. Really, it does, because we release the tension, right? Like that's the trigger usually when it comes up. So you can do the workshops, and of course I have lots of one-on-ones, and also a personal coaching program. So it's lots to pick from. And I do have clients from Australia and around the world. So we do all kind of Zoom sessions, and that always works really well.
Well, so if anyone's looking to, if you're thinking, oh, I need a bit of Botox, or I need some of this or some of that, maybe try face yoga first. It's a lot less toxic. It's probably a lot less expensive, and you're going to feel better. So check that out first. So thanks so much for your time. It's been fantastic to have you back on the podcast again and share more about what you have been doing. So thank you so much.
Thank you that you invited me. That's fantastic. Thank you.
So wasn't that an interesting conversation? Congratulations to Vanamala for winning the award at the Women Changing the World Award. And I think we do need to have more of these type of recognitions of the work that women in business are doing. So it's a fantastic awards that are happening, and some very high profile women that are part of this. So if you want to have a bit more of a conversation around this, why not pop over and join us in the Menopause Conversations Facebook group, and we can talk a little bit more about whether it's face yoga, whether or not you think cosmetics is the way to go, whatever it is. Let's have a bit more of a conversation about this in the Facebook group. Now, if you've got friends, other women you think might be interested in learning more about these conversations that we're having around menopause, please feel free to share this podcast with your friends. And, so the more women listening and talking about what goes on at this time of life, the better. And if you enjoy the podcast, getting a rating and review from you, well, that would be a bonus as well, because the more rating and reviews we get, particularly on Apple Podcast, the more Apple puts out this podcast to women that need to hear this information. Apple Podcasts happens to be the largest podcasting platform, but if you're not listening on Apple Podcasts or you don't have an Apple phone, you're a bit like me, please leave your rating and review wherever you are listening. So that's it from me, and I'll be back next week with another episode of the Menopause Conversations Podcast. Bye for now.